so continue. Next paragraph. A person might be raised based on a verse. I will harden the. Just 1 second. No, everything correct. On a verse. I will harden Pharaoh's heart. Afterwards, as a result of Pharaoh's hardness, God punished him and destroyed him. This is the proper place to discuss the concept as explained fundamental principle. Therefore, contemplate any words on the subject and pay attention to them. Afterwards, compare them to other interpretations that have been offered and select what you think is best. Okay, so let's read this again, and we're going to explain. A problem might be raised based on the verse. I will harden the Pharaoh's heart. That's a famous question, famous question, and people ask, and I was asked, like, but you know the question, but you never read the commentary? So if you see Rashi explained it. If you see Rambam explained it extensively. Like, I don't know, like how many pages he goes on explaining this episode. Like it's explained black and white. Okay, so but it's very, very common question. So the question is again, how come the Pharaoh was punished? Because it says the Pharaoh, HaShem hardened Pharaoh's heart. Okay, let's see. Afterwards, as a result of the Pharaoh hardness, God punished him and destroyed him. So you say, look, it's not fair. HaShem hardened his heart, and then he did whatever he did. He was stubborn, right? And he did not let the Jewish people go, right? And HaShem killed him. Well, not kill him. He was not killed, but destroy him. Okay, destroy. He was the sole survivor of this Sea of Reeds, right? This is the proper place to discuss the concept and explain the fundamental principle. So now Rambam is going to explain why the Pharaoh, like his heart was hardened, and how come he was punished as a result of this. I'm just adding. Therefore, contemplate my words on this subject and pay attention to them. So Rambam, I think it's the first time I see this expression. Therefore, contemplate my words and the subject and pay attention to them. Very interesting. Afterwards, compare them to other interpretations and that have been offered, and select that what you think is best. So there are a few interpretations, but let's see what Rambam says. So the first interpretation. The concept can be explained as follows: if the only sin committed by Pharaoh. Before we continue, any questions before we continue? Okay, no problem. So start explanation. The concept can be explained as follows: if the only sin committed by Pharaoh and his servants had been that they did not release the Jewish people, the matter would indeed have been difficult, for he prevented him from releasing them, as it is written, I have hardened his heart and the heart of his servants. How then can he ask him to release them when he is compelled not to release them? Okay, and then punish him for not releasing them, destroying him and his servants. If this were the case, it would be unfair, and this would negate all that we have explained previously. Okay, so Rambam just at this point he raises the question. So let's see one more time this paragraph. We're going to explain every sentence. It's a lot to add. So let's see. The concept can be explained as follows: if one is the only sin committed by Pharaoh and his servants had been that they did not release the Jewish people. So many times that people cannot concentrate. Why they cannot concentrate in their life? I guess because they, maybe younger generations, they play games, they watch movies and like a lot of actions, and they need constantly like something going on. Nobody can read books and understand. So um, I have one student, so he said, Rabbi, do we have to read 2 times? I told him I'm not I usually don't understand from first time. I better understand from second one. I said, how about you? He said, I am good if we just continue. So I asked him 3 questions in the paragraph we just finished. Just 1 minute. He did not know the topic. He did but people like to advance. You understand? So the point is, what is the point? So people start asking the question from the middle of the story, so they completely forget the past, and they start they say why the Pharaoh was his people were punished just because they did not let the people go, right? But they completely forgot what about 89 years of slavery, right? How all of this torture of Jewish people, of humiliation, of this Pharaoh bathing in Jewish blood, Jewish babies' blood. I don't know, it's 200 or 300 babies had to be killed every day for this monster to bathe because he had tsaras. Of course, it did not help. You understand? And all of this, all of the torture that he did. So these people conveniently forgot, right? And they talk it in the middle, starting discussion in the middle. You understand? That's many years ago I was surprised, but then I understood it's because of the movies, because people don't read books, they cannot follow anything. If you read Gemara, so it's very interesting. It's very first of all, that's a man must do first of all, and second of all, it develops your mind, thinking. You're trying to keep up with 3 different opinions, right? And then they contradict each other, and then they say, yes, it is true, yeah? And here's why it is true, and you agree. And next paragraph they say, no, it cannot be true, and they give you the reasons why it's not true, and you understand, yeah, absolutely. How could I fall for a first opinion? You understand? But that's how you develop. So these people, Rambam say, if you ask this Pharaoh and then his servants, so they start speaking from the middle, so right from the middle of the story, they forget for 89 years before that. For he prevented him, meaning HaShem, prevented him from releasing them, as it is written, I have hardened his heart and the heart of the servants. So Rambam says, so HaShem hardened his heart, Pharaoh's heart, and Pharaoh did not let us go, and that's why he was punished. So looks like very unfair story. If as we said, you forget the beginning of the story. How then can he, meaning HaShem, ask him to release them? Right. So if HaShem is going to harden Pharaoh's heart, why would he ask if Moshe would go every time? And sometimes, I don't remember how many times, but Hashem said, look, you go, you deliver the message, but guess what? He's not going to listen to you, right? He's going to reject. Because why? Hashem. It's not Hashem is guessing, right? He said, because I hardened his heart. It's almost he has no choice. Okay, so continue. So it's very, very important principle for us to know and live by. How then can he, meaning Hashem, ask him to release them when he is compelled not to release them, right? And then punish him for not releasing them. So it looks absurd. First Hashem said go and ask for release, but I'm going to harden his heart, and he's not going to release, right? And then punish him, destroying him and his servants. Okay. If this were the case, it would be unfair, and this would negate all that we explained previously. Meaning that it was something before that, right? So if you start this story from the middle, does not make sense. And plus, Hashem started making his heart hardening Pharaoh's heart only from, I think, from 5th or 6th plague. So, but not before that. Continue with Rambam. This, however, was not the case. Pharaoh and his servants rebel against God willingly. Ooh, without anyone's forcing them or compelling them. They oppressed the strangers in their land and treated them unjustly. As the Torah explicitly states, Shmos 10:1, and he said to his people, behold the Jewish people, etc., etc., let us act cleverly with them. These acts they perform voluntarily, as a result of their own wicked thoughts. Nothing compelled them to do so. Okay, so let's try to understand from the beginning and we explain. This, however, was not the case, meaning we don't start story from the middle. Pharaoh and his servants rebel against God willingly, right? So that's they actually deserve. They started. They made their choice without anyone forcing them and compelling them. So how they rebel against God? They start enslaving the Jewish people. So you're not even for Gentiles, you're not allowed to enslave your own nation, right? Even though that's what they do today in all of the countries, right? But it's not right. He had no right. Right, and plus he knew what Yaakov was, and he knew about Yaakov, and he knew about Abraham. So they knew that it's God chosen people, and they were supposed to remember that because of the Yosef, the whole Egypt was saved, and they were made superpower. You understand? So nobody if Yosef and his family did so good to the whole nation. And save not only save them, but put on the map, put the number one power in the world, and that's how you treat the descendants, right? From nowhere, right? Compelling them. They oppressed the stranger in their land and treated them unjustly, as Torah explicitly states, and said to his people, and he said, meaning Pharaoh, behold the Jewish people, and they say they multiply a lot, they fill in the land. And guess what? We have to take care of these Jewish people, right? Let us act cleverly with them. So that was not provoked. They decided. This act they performed voluntarily, so nobody pushed them, as a result of their own wicked thoughts. Nothing compelled them to do so. Okay, so just quickly, the story was, it was a war with one of the Canaanite nations, and they came to the border to the Goshen, where the Jews live. And Jews actually fought them, Canaanites, without help of Egyptians, and they were very successful. So after that successful war, right, the Pharaoh, instead of being glad that he had such a loyal people who can protect his borders, what did he say? No, now they're going to get stronger. Now if another nation, maybe this nation they didn't like so much, but another nation is going to come, and they're going to unite with that nation. They're going to kill all of the Egyptians. Right? So sick logic, but that's what's the logic, and that's always the logic of all of these nations. Right? So they always treat the Jews as traitors, that they even though Jews never gave them any reasons to do so. You understand? So they say if something happens, so it's Jews, for sure they're going to go with our enemies. Okay. That's common.